Paws at Maine in the house. How you guys doing today?
We're doing
Doing
good.
good,
Thank
good.
you.
Good. That's what's up. Tell me a little bit about your background and what got you to the point of first being a dog groomer, right? Like, how'd you get to that? And then at what point did you guys feel like, all right, we can make a business out of this?
Always knew I wanted to do something. Wasn't sure exactly what it was going to be. I've always loved dogs, and I'm just going to go into detail. So I actually dropped out of high school when I had my first daughter. And then I was a stay-at-home mom for like 9 years. And then after that, I was like, I need to do something, but I didn't know what it was. I ended up working at like a dog rescue, and I loved that and just being around dogs. But again, wanted to do something. Didn't want to have to work for anybody. Wanted to be my own, boss.
Right. Did you have dogs prior to that, though? Like, did you have pets and stuff? Yeah. Okay.
Loved.
We've always had like dogs and cats. So I feel like that's where we had that love for them since the beginning.
Yes, and I
Right.
used to groom my mother-in-law's dogs all the time. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I did it. And then you used to groom cats too. I never touched them.
I
didn't
had
like
cats.
them.
I like cats. So I started, I was like, all right, my cat's matted. Before I even know what matted was.
Yeah.
All right, this guy needs a haircut. So
You are a brave
We
man.
just bought some clippers. We stretched them out and gave him a haircut as best as possible. We didn't finish it, but we got half.
Yeah, so I would continue to groom my mother-in-law's dogs, and then I was like, you know what? I think I like this. I like this a lot. So I searched the area for a grooming school, and I went to a grooming school in Temecula. But before I even went to that grooming school, I went back to go get my diploma because I only needed 10 credits. So I was like, well, GED or diploma, but I ended up getting my diploma. I went to grooming school. I thought I needed it. Don't know why, but I thought I needed it.
I think they asked for it.
I don't remember.
Huh?
Yeah, they did actually. Yeah, they did.
They asked for the high school diploma?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I never heard that before.
Right?
Yeah.
So I went to school, I think it was like for like a year or two. I don't remember.
Probably about a year. She was doing it full time at first, then did it part time. So it took her a little while to complete it.
Yeah. So then I ended up graduating there. Then I went to work. I went to go work somewhere for about a year or two. But the goal was always to open up my own business. But I wanted the experience of working in a salon before opening my own business. And then finally, I think like around almost going on 2 years, we were ready. We were like, let's do it. Let's open up our salon. And the rest is history. You can go from there.
Yeah. I mean, and then I always tell her, I was like, we're going to be here. We're going to have like two like not different stories, but she has her side, how she gets that.
Perspective.
Perspective. And the same thing for me.
Because you started as an entrepreneur in general, right?
An entrepreneur. I mean, I feel like even before the word was cool, I was a little kid thinking entrepreneur. But I remember like back in the day, you only hear entrepreneur as like a bad thing.
Right.
It was a word to describe
a capitalist pig.
Yeah. So no one liked entrepreneurs back in the day. But I don't know. I looked up the word one day, liked it. I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. And the funny thing is, I actually always thought I always liked marketing as well. I always thought that marketing or business was something that I would want to do.
Right.
So, my little backstory was, I graduated high school when I was 16. I had already started working.
Oh, wow.
I was working with my uncles. I kind of started in construction. I was an electrician at first. And even then, kind of when the economy crashed, he kind of ran out of work a little bit. So I was just doing little side jobs on my own. I worked for a company for a while, but I've always been doing something on my own ever since 16. I've only had one like actual job for a bigger company. So, fast forward, me and Prisilla, we have our kids, we're working, living. She starts the grooming, she started grooming, I supported her. I was like, cool, go to school. I didn't really think much of it, That's just actually, right. I didn't support her as much. Maybe I didn't, I just didn't know. Like you don't think of grooming as a business. Me, someone who I owned a franchise, I did a couple of stuff. I was always doing different things along the way, but grooming, you just don't think of grooming.
Right. I feel like it really isn't until recently, like there's been this big influx in people having dogs. There's way more like information out there about it. There's way more content out there about it in general. So,
and even I feel like, yes, that's true. But I even think now, I feel like as more groomers are coming to social media and being more active, I feel like that's also helping with the popularity.
Oh, yeah.
Now people are seeing groomers as it's a cool job, or you see these cooler groomers, or now we have influential groomers. And I feel like that's helping as well. I feel like it is bringing more eyes to the grooming industry. They might see us, they might see other groomers, like, okay,
absolutely.
Looks kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, especially with the creative stuff, like that's really blown up, and Gabriel has been like huge in that too. Gabriel Feitosa.
Yeah.
So I mean, but even before that, like I think her name's Katrina Short. She was going viral with like turning things into animals.
Friend.
That's your best friend.
Yeah.
She was like the first like groomer that I saw, like myself, that was viral, where I was like, oh shit, that's crazy.
I think so, right?
Yeah, she was. She was
like
viral.
the first one going viral with her.
Yeah.
With her.
Because like I like come kind of like not similar background as you, because I kind of came into entrepreneurship later on. I didn't know that there was dog grooming competitions.
Yeah.
I didn't know that creative dog grooming was a thing.
I think that's kind of what like flipped the switch for me too. Also, we were already in the process of building the shop, but we're still kind of just taking it lightly. But once we went to the expo, we went to Groom Expo West for the first time, and I saw all the poodles and I saw all the groomers and I saw this little community. I was like, okay,
yeah,
we could do something here. Like it's not, no one's really doing nothing crazy with it.
Right.
There's a lot of potential here.
It's unique because like what other industry is still like that right now? Like where, you know, essentially they're 10 years behind. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
Not knocking anyone, but just some of the ways that the business is done, you know, is a little dated. And when I got to the industry, like the marketing was dated. And
that's funny to say that too. I was talking to a soap company, you know, a long time soap, you know, provider for groomers. And they recently changed their labels, and they're like, oh, we're getting a lot of negative feedback. I'm like, who are you getting negative feedback from? Older people? She's like, yeah. I was like, that's why. I was like, you know, there's a new generation of groomers. I like this. Like, if anything, you know, I want to work with them. You know, they're local to us. So, you know, I like their stuff. Their stuff is good, but their labels and things are a little bit outdated. Now they have the newer labels. Now I can work with it. Now I can, you know, make a video and post a nice, you know, looking company with someone that, you know, we've been using for a long time.
Yeah, it's super important, you know, and I mean, we're big on it. We've really switched the way we're doing business in terms of like affiliate marketing and things like that. So like, you know, I mean, we try to help companies as much as like, if we like their product, you know, we'll help them as much as we can on the marketing front, right? As long as we're able to kind of set up like an affiliate deal or something like that. So we do a little bit extra, but at the same time, like if we can help you guys, if we can help that company sell it, we make money either way. So is good for everybody. And I feel like that's kind of lacking in the industry in terms of affiliates. But
I feel like, either affiliates. I mean, I feel like now that we see with social media, we see a lot of people with deals and brand deals. You know, I know that they're trying to push that in the grooming industry. And I think little by little it's getting there, but I feel like it's still a little outdated. They're still getting there. They're still getting there.
It's something we've thought about, like sponsoring groomers and stuff, but I just don't like, I don't like kind of like the way it's kind of set up now, kind of what I've heard from competitive groomers, kind of like how they make money or don't make money or whatever the case. So if I do it, I got to do it right. And just the money isn't there yet. So
no, it's a process. And it's the same thing. It's kind of figuring out how to do it right. The same thing, even I've told her, I'm like, all right, you know, even if you sign up with the Shear company, realistically, you know, since, you know, our community is a small community, you know, how much value are we bringing into, you know, a company?
Right.
You know, even for our end, you know, I always feel that, you know, our goal, if we were to partner with anybody or do anything with anybody, we want to make sure like I provide value on my end. Like, what can I do besides bring sales?
Right. Right. But I think, you know, ultimately that's the name of the game though. So, I mean, if you're able to do that in a creative way, I feel like right now, which, you know, there's few people in the industry who can do it. And I feel like you guys are definitely on the right track for that.
Thank you.
What was the kind of the mind shift change for you guys where you're like, all right, our business is doing good. Let's focus on content creation. Like what made you decide to do that? And how has that changed your business?
So I think that we've actually, even before our salon opened, we were constantly trying to do like, you know, a little bit like videos on our own, like even in our backyard. We're already promoting ourselves like through content. And I even tell Prisilla, even before you see us now, you know, here on social media with our personal brands, I feel like locally in our area, we've been pushing a lot of content. It hasn't been seen by other groomers because we were targeting mainly our customers.
Right.
So for like the last 4 years, we've been targeting customers. And I feel like now that we've been growing a lot and a lot of people have been noticing, now we're starting to get more attention from groomers.
Well, we actually, even before opening, we already had customers just from Instagram alone.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
we were promoting, I think probably like 6 months before.
Yeah.
I had an opening date and they said we were going to open and then the water wasn't there. Things weren't ready, but I was still pushing. I was like, hey guys, don't worry. We're going to open soon. We're going to open soon. We had some clientele is like ready, just waiting for us.
Were you guys like taking like at home grooming stuff and stuff? No?
No.
Were these clients that like you kind of had beforehand or strictly off social media?
Strictly off social media.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we knew social media was going to be a hit for us.
We built our business with social media.
Yeah.
Did you have your brand already?
Yeah, we have a name.
Okay, so you had the Paws, that main name already.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you have like your branding done at that point, or did you just have the name? Yeah.
No, as far as logo and everything, we had everything ready beforehand, and we really pushed the brand. We pushed Paws and me. We didn't push any of us. Now that you kind of see a little bit more of us on social media, but before it wasn't like that. It was always pushing Paws and me, Paws and me, Paws and me.
Right. So you're starting 6 months before. You had the location already, right? You know you're opening it. You're running into all these trouble, right?
Mhm.
Did you have like any like external motivation?
I think for me, it was just, we have to make this work. Like, it has to work. I mean, we're putting everything in this, and we have 3 kids at home. It had to work. And I feel like for him, because he's very big on marketing, it was like, this is the way we're going to do it.
So you just had the plan from get.
Yeah, I feel like this is where like my business skill kind of kicked in. I had done a couple things, some of them will work, some of them failed, but I was already big on social media before this. I've always used social media to try to market the businesses. I knew a couple of, Instagram influencers, and I would see that, how much money they were making or how much they were pushing their stuff through social media.
That's amazing.
So I was like, all right, we have to do it.
This was with the fitness industry.
Yeah,
so he used to be in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I know you guys were like, we have to make this work, right?
Mhm.
And that really resonates with me because when we started Groom House, that was kind of a situation for both of us, right?
Mhm.
So I had a franchise before too.
Okay.
It was a swim. Long story short, didn't work out. We went into crazy debt because of it.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit, right? So when COVID hit, now she got laid off. And we're like, and we had something going where we talked about before, but that kind of fell off, right?
Yeah.
So we were really in a situation where like, we have to make this shit work.
Yeah.
Like we have no choice. You know what I mean? So that really, really resonates with me. How did you come off of a situation like that too? Or did you just decide to transition from fitness industry into the pet industry?
No, I feel like you had a situation kind of similar.
Yeah, I had a couple little issues with my businesses, that I had at that time, and I had some money left, and I was like, all right, I got a little bit of money left. Let's I found this place,
He took a chance on me.
I took a chance on her, and she would say like, hey, she was ready to like stay at her job for another year,
Right?
But I had, I said I had my last couple, grand left, and I signed a lease, to a building, and she was a little bit scared of how we were gonna get going, but I told her, like, don't worry, like, this building wasn't even done yet. Like, it was still dirt. There was no walls up. There was nothing yet. I was like, I use my money, sign the lease. I'm going to work until then and buy things little by little. So I bought the tub. I went to the expo. I saw the tub. It was on sale. I bought it. Tables, I started buying. Little by little, I bought everything. And once we were ready to open, we had the stuff. So we didn't have to, do it all out of pocket at once. But again, it was kind of like a make it because, like, this lease was signed. I had a lease for 5 years. Like, there was no turning back. We had to put it together.
Yeah.
However good.
How do you guys balance being business partners and spouses?
You answer that.
I laugh because we struggle with it sometimes, but
it's hard.
Yeah.
We know it's hard. It's not easy.
It's we at the end of the day, we both have the same goal. It's just sometimes he's a risk taker. I'm not. I'm scared of everything.
That sounds familiar.
Scared of everything.
Everything. But at the end of the day, I still let him take those risks. I'm with him every step that he takes. I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. I trust you. It's just sometimes I just like to sit back and be like, well, what if this happens? And he doesn't like those answers. He's like, I don't care. If we go in debt, we're going to go in debt, and that's it. But for the most part, I feel like I'm supportive. And I feel like he's very supportive. At the end of the day, we always meet. Even if we bump heads, we meet right back in the middle. And it's like, we know what the bigger picture is. And that's all that matters.
It has its challenges for sure. But I feel like there is no other way that we could do this, because we both have like the same mission. Even if we're struggling together, even if we're fighting personally, at the end of the day, we have the same goal. So it's easier to make those sacrifices. So if we got to sacrifice extra hours, time with the kids, we both know that we have the same goal and we're doing it together.
Right.
So, when we first started, it was just us two. We worked, 5-6 days a week from morning till night because I didn't know how to work a schedule. I was like, oh, you're a fast groomer. Here's 20 dogs. And she's like, what? I was like, I don't know. You told me you were fast. I don't know how long it took. So it was just me and her day and night, doing dogs. But again, if it was any other way, it might have been a little bit harder. If it was just me working, because we've been in that situation where it's just me working, and I used to work 7 days a week. I used to work all the time.
Right.
Same thing, as an entrepreneur, you work all the time.
Yeah, it's lonely for sure.
Yeah. So she kind of, sometimes I wouldn't be home, things like that. So at least now we're together.
Right.
Through all of them.
Now I know, like, because we're in the same situation, and I know that like it can be very easy to where it's business all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where like you're on a date or something, but you're like talking business or talking future plans and stuff, right? Do you guys try and stay away from that, or do you just embrace it?
Embrace it. At this point, it's like you just have to embrace it. And I feel like no matter what, it's quality time either way. So anytime that I have with him, I love it, even if it's work.
That's amazing.
Yeah. My cousin was telling me, you need to go on dates. You need to do things separately. I feel like when you're trying to build something this big or, as big as you want to get it, when you want to build something great or big, like it's going to consume you.
Right.
It's going to take like everything.
You can go on a 10-year long date when you retire.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think he'll ever retire. He's a hard worker, but yeah, no,
I don't know why people want to retire. I don't know why.
I hear that.
Yeah. If you're like this now, you're never going to retire. You'll have fun, but like right now, we're having fun. We're enjoying this, but I still want to work.
Yeah, I feel you. I think my goal is mostly like I want to be able to be like, all right, I can retire.
Yeah.
If I wanted to, I can retire.
Or maybe it's not even retirement. I think it's like just security. You want to have that security.
Yeah.
When you think of being retired is because you think you're secure.
Right.
And you have, whatever you have in the bank to, live off.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like for an entrepreneur, like, I don't think you'll ever retire. You'll just be, you might hit that point like, all right, I'm secure. If I wanted to, I could stop. But your mindset might not let you stop. I don't know. That's me.
I know. I definitely agree. So, I mean, all right. So you guys mentioned like it was just you two. How long was it just you two?
For like a year or two? Maybe less, huh?
Maybe like 6-8 months.
6-8 months. And it was just him and I and sometimes the kids.
Yeah.
The kids help. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So you guys have one of the things that like I've really noticed about you guys, just like as Paws and Mains and stuff, is that you have an amazing team, right? Like you guys are always together. You're always doing stuff. You always support each other. You know what I mean? So like, how did you guys go about when you were ready to hire people? How did you go about finding like the team? And how do you go about like retaining them, keeping them happy?
So keeping them there's a podcast that we listen to. So even when before we'd open, we'd always listen to podcasts. And there's this one that we do follow. His name's Andy Prisilla. And I remember him saying that like whenever they had issues, like his company, whenever anybody had an issue, he would always make sure that he would get them in a group and they would talk over their issues.
Mm-hmm.
So for our employees, whenever anybody is feeling anything, like they're upset about something, because it happens. There's a lot of drama in the salons. And when anything is happening or you see someone that's uncomfortable or they're sad or whatever the case may be, I like to sit down and talk to them. If there's two people that are upset, I like to sit down, talk to them. We always want to find a solution to everything because I feel like there is a solution for some cases. But for the most part, we're very personable. We treat them as family. They are family. And I think just being personable with them and letting them know, hey, like we're all here. We're all going to work and we're all going to, push for the greater good. And I feel like most of the people that have come along were either they had no experience in grooming and we've taught them from the ground up. And
it's amazing.
I feel like because they know that we've put that work in and we've invested in them and they've invested in us, that we're all loyal to each other.
Well, that's amazing.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even with just like finding them, it's always been, it could be a hit or miss. We do our best to give everybody a chance. Like we're not looking for the best groomers. We're looking for someone who is willing to learn, someone who's like, coachable with us, who will take the criticism, and someone who just kind of fits with our
culture,
with our vibe. We might be a little bit different, but it's been working for us.
Right. And
we just want someone that will fit in with the rest of the team. The rest of the team, eventually, becomes like us. I mean, we're the leaders. We're kind of who we set the standards. It's not always perfect, but usually the ones that do stay with us are the ones that are willing to like work out their problems. Hey, I don't like this groomer. All right, cool. Let's talk about it. What happened? Let's make up. Let's get over it and move forward. If they're not willing to do that, that's where it becomes a little bit harder. So
yeah, for sure.
It's nice on the outside, but even on the inside, there's a lot of, it's like a family. We fight, we talk about it, we get over it, and then we move on because, you can't break up a family.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you guys had a lot of turnaround initially, like starting out? Like, did it take you a little bit to kind of figure out, your system with employees and kind of keep them on board and things like that? Or did you guys kind of just find your team and they've been there since?
No, I mean, we've
had people leave. Yeah.
We've had people leave, but I feel like we've also had, our team from the beginning, not crazy turnaround, but let's say like our OG team or even people who are with us from the beginning that, aren't here now. I mean, they were there with us, at the beginning. They stayed with us for a while. Things happened.
Yeah.
And, we're now at a point where we're trying better to protect the team as a whole and the culture that we have as a whole. So now we're a little bit quicker on letting people go.
But also, too, like the people who have been there the longest and who are going to be with us for a while, we always let them know what the dream is, what our goal is. Because, I mean, it doesn't stop here. We still have a lot more things we want to do.
Right.
And when we express, hey, like, this isn't just for him and I to grow. This is for all of us to grow because we don't want you guys just to be groomers and this is where it ends.
Well, I think from like an outsider's perspective, I feel like I get that vibe too. Because like I've seen some of your content and you're big like on, really supporting your groomers and like maybe even like being like pestering them about doing content. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, it's funny because yes, I've been pestering them about doing content, but little by little they start telling me, they've been sending me messages. Hey, I made this reel. Like, oh, that's awesome. Like, yeah, I don't want to get left behind. I've been getting that from our groomers. Hey, I'm going to make a reel today because I don't want to get left behind,
Well, I mean, like she said, I mean, you guys are really like setting the expectation and you're setting the example because, you're pushing them to do the content, which is amazing. You know what I mean? Because I don't know many people in the industry that are like pushing like content like that don't just like work by themselves. Like most of the people who are really out here doing the content and like pushing the stuff, they do it by themselves.
Yes.
I don't really see like the business supporting them, right?
Yes.
If they do work for anyone, right? It's just like a self thing. So the fact that you guys are like so supportive of your staff and their content like is amazing.
And I feel like the thing is that, people might be scared a little bit, I know sometimes we have that, we would have that fear, we pour a lot into them. And then what if someone gets up and leaves? What if you become Insta famous and, we were there with you, building you up along the way. And then you get up and leave because, you might feel some type of way. So I know sometimes she gets a little bit scared with that. But I feel that, that's also part of the retention. Like we're giving them enough to grow that they don't, not that they don't need to go anywhere else, but they're happy where they're at because we're also helping them fulfill, their needs as growing as people, as individuals. We want to see them grow. The more they grow, the happier they are, the better, employees they become as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's like one of the hardest things of just owning a business in general is, putting so much into someone. And, at the same time, like you kind of want to keep them there, but it's, sometimes you want to also be supportive. So it's a constant battle. Yeah.
I mean, even then it's very rewarding because even for me, like it makes me emotional sometimes when I see like, let's say for Nat, I don't know if you follow Nat on social media, even her where I'm like, she's only been grooming almost 2 years. 2 years. Yeah, 2 years now. And she's doing really well. And, it's like you planted that seed, and I love seeing her grow. Even for him, like he loves seeing her grow. It's his favorite.
Yeah.
It's one of his favorites.
Don't post it.
I mean, I think the first time I got introduced to you guys, like on social media anyways, was one of her videos.
Okay.
Like it was a collaboration between you two.
Okay.
It might have been Brody.
Oh, maybe.
Might have been that one.
Yeah.
Because that was also like, I saw that and then I saw like some super cinematic shit you did with them on the beach. I was like, this is what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, hell yeah. That's what's up. I could tell both of you guys are doing like a really big push on the social media side, right? Mm-hmm. Which is amazing. It's super important for the business. And I think it's great for like self-branding and stuff. So how do you guys manage just that balance of running the business, but also keeping up with the content creation side of things? Because that shit is demanding.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you and I are both different, so you can answer yours.
Or even kind of back when you asked me earlier, like, when were you guys comfortable to push more branding? I feel like we are in a comfortable place where we don't really need to be at our salons, as much anymore. We have everything, we have what we do, really have a good system in place. We have people in place and we have a chain of command. Everything is pretty good and self-run. I mean, we go in and check in because one, we like to make sure that they know that we're still here for them.
Right.
They'll call us all day, every day, questions, things like that, but we don't have to be there as much. So we have a little bit more time to focus, on the social media and the content creation.
That's amazing. How many locations do you guys have?
We have 2 locations and 2 mobiles.
2 locations and 2 mobile. That's awesome. What?
And we're not done growing.
Not done growing?
No.
That's what's up.
I feel like I told her, I was like, I get bored and I was like, oh, I have nothing to do at these 2 shops. I might as well go open up another shop and work there.
Any plans of coming to Florida?
I might. It's gonna.
I know.
It's funny. I saw some empty places up there in the front. I was like, I'm gonna check on LoopNet real quick, see what the rent's here.
I mean, it's expensive, but you could charge.
Yeah,
we could charge pretty well, especially
we'll come down here. We'll teach you how to groom, so you can help us groom and shop here.
That's already on the plans. I'm trying to learn. Pina's gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna force her to teach me.
Oh wow!
I tried to get her, but she's like, "You're not ready yet." It took me like 3 hours to prep a Bichon.
Oh no! I mean, well, she's probably like a hard teacher to have. So
yeah, I mean, well, that and she's working, so it's like you can't take 3 hours prepping a dog.
Yeah.
The fuck.
I feel like that's one of the challenges sometimes we have when we get groomers who don't have as much experience. We have to really like you to take that time with you, because we know that if you're coming in with a little bit of experience or maybe out of one of those, big box stores, that we know that you're not going to know a whole lot. We pretty much have to redo it over. So
yeah. They have to unlearn things, which is really, really hard.
Yeah, we have to tell them that too. Like, hey, like whatever you knew or whatever you learned.
Yeah, unlearning is way harder than it is to learn. So yeah, it's one of those things. But that's I feel like those big box stores have been like where a lot of groomers have been coming out of, because the school is expensive for some people. So they just take that route. And I mean, it's from what I understand, like a lot of groomers that are like really good started there. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of where they decide to take it and stuff. Have you guys into the show world at all?
No, we don't. We admire it and the people who do. But for ourselves, I feel that we don't really need it a whole bunch. Like, it's nice to be able to do that. We do want to just focus on our regular pet grooming. Yeah, we might not be able to do, let's say, all the show dogs, but we know that we're going to give you a better pet groom than maybe someone else on the street.
Have you ever been to like a dog show? Like, you guys into that at all?
I've never been to a dog show. I've always wanted to go to a dog show, but I've never been to one. No, I think we've actually ever planned it or have had time for it. Yeah.
It's a different world. Like, you'd think it'd like be similar kind of to like the dog grooming industry, but is way I mean, they're like, depending on I mean, AKC right now, like they're doing good on social media from what I see. You know what I mean? But the majority of like the vendors that are there, it's just kind of who's there is there. And they've been there for 30 years and they're going to continue to be there, and they don't need to do anything. They don't need new branding. They don't, you know what I'm saying? So it's a little bit more closed off. Like, we've been to a couple just like on the business tip, like, let's go talk to these vendors and see what, they got going on and see if there's any business that needs any branding or anything like that. They don't need nothing.
Do they not need it, or they just don't understand?
They don't think they need it. Like I said, like,
they're old school.
Yeah, trusted brands and stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So I mean, even like in the grooming industry, like I feel like lately it's been getting like a lot better in terms of like when you go to the shows, the booths and stuff like that. But still the majority of the booths are small businesses that just have a backdrop up and have old branding, and that's what we try to help. Yeah, you know what I mean. It seems to be like at least the new groomers coming out. Nina does most of the branding, and the majority of the branding she gets is like groomers who are opening businesses and stuff. Yeah, and it's a lot. At least it seems like a lot of people are going that route with the opening their own thing and mobile and stuff like that.
Yeah, and even sometimes, I mean, I'll get questions people ask me, but I always try to definitely push them. All right, get your branding in order, get your social media in order, and then start putting the pieces together, because that's definitely going to help.
Yeah, for sure.
Just mainly from experience, because we definitely started out with a lot of social media before we even had the store, period.
Yeah, I think that's super cool that you guys started with the marketing.
Yeah.
Like before you were even open. Speaking of social media, I was just thinking about a post you posted recently. Like, how do you guys deal with trolls?
I ignore them, but he loves.
Sometimes I like to troll them back.
He loves
It's fun, but when they start, dragging it on too much, I was like, all right, you guys just want to drag it on.
It's engagement.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
It's engagement.
There's times where I'm like on our Paws at main account where I'm like, I'm looking and I have to literally text him if we're not together. And I'm like, can you stop already? Just leave them alone. Like, there's no getting to them.
You'll see who, like, really trolls, or like the people who will comment stuff about grooming. I'll ask them, where's your grooming page? Where's your business? Show me an example of why I should even listen to you.
Yeah.
And they never do.
Is the majority of the stuff on the dog stuff, or is it on like the cat stuff? Because I know you guys put cats into.
I feel it's both.
Balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like, even the groomers, why doesn't she look happy?
Yeah.
Why is she grooming like that? Shut up.
Those are the salty old groomers.
Yeah. But whenever I do see like a respectable groomer, and I'll go through their page and I see, like, they got good grooms, they got good things like that, I don't try to fight with them. I try to, explain, my point of view. Hey, I did this because of this, because of this. And then if they decide to keep going, then that's on them. Because, I've had that happen. I'm like, all right, hey, groomer to groomer, I'm letting you know this is what happened. Here's the backstory. Don't worry. Like, we did everything we're supposed to do. It just didn't work out. And here's a video. It's not a big deal. And they'll kind of keep going.
Yeah. We get those keep going people.
Yeah.
Our biggest trolls have been on the creative grooming stuff.
The creative grooming, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People go ham on those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's annoying. It really is.
And hair in the face. Like when we do like the breed standard stuff, like wheat-ins, schnauzers even.
They can't see.
They can't see, yeah.
And even then, like, I understand people who troll and are not groomers, but groomer to groomer, we probably got to stop trolling each other.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's a lot of, fighting going on. Everybody has different styles. I feel like maybe if I always feel like, I don't want to tell anybody anything. If I see something like, maybe I might cringe, but I'm not, commenting on stuff. Hey, you did that wrong. Every once in a while, I'll get like a good message. Hey, I'm a groomer. I want to DM you. I didn't want to put this out there. I saw this and I thought this. And then we have a good conversation about, the concerns.
Respect.
Yeah. A respectful conversation.
Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah. I like the people who kind of just, if they have a problem with something, they DM you and just let you know, whatever. But there's, a lot of people get so brave online and, you know what I mean? And just say things that I don't feel like they would say in person. You know what I mean? But
I don't think anybody's gonna tell me anything in person.
I don't. Yeah, no.
Like, who knows? I'm very much like that. Like, even when we started our Yelp, oh my gosh, I was addicted to it. I literally looked through every review, and then at some point, I was like, I can't anymore. I can't look at it because people don't tell the truth, and they exaggerate over a story that never really happened.
Right.
So even for Instagram, I don't look at comments. I don't look at reviews. I do it for my own mental health, because I'm like, if I stare at that stuff and I look at it, I'm going to stress myself out, and then I'm going to question myself. Am I actually doing this right? Like, am I doing this wrong? Like, what's going on? But he loves it. Oh my gosh, he loves it.
Well, that's part of the reason why, like, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like let go of this social media thing, because I talked about this with Yo the last time, but there was a lot of times where like I would post something and expect it to do certain numbers or whatever. And I was like, nope, it's not working, and delete it right away. I feel like if I'm constantly checking up on the progress of things, like it just kills my creativity.
That goes back to even just like how you and your wife, you guys work with each other. Like, you guys balance each other. Like, even for him and I, where I'm like, for me, I like, everything stresses me out. Everything is scary for me. But
Which one of that is you guys? Who's the stress?
Oh, no, it's the same. Yeah, she worries about everything. And I'm like, fuck it, we got to do this. We go bankrupt. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
But I feel like there's a balance, because, he definitely picks me up when I'm my lowest, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that. And he's like, I got you. I'm going to do it. And he does that. Like, he handles all of the Instagrams, like, Paws at me. I don't really look at the comments, again, because it stresses me out to even just see what people are saying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's for sure. It's hard. And, you know, it's a lot of people, like when we first got into business, I had like a mentor kind of with the camera thing.
Okay.
And he told me, he's like, don't do it. He's like, don't do it. Don't go into business with your wife. He's like, it's going to be the end of your relationship. You know what I mean? And I feel like for most people that might be the case, but you know, if you guys like, you know, and for us too, like we're on the same team. And I feel like if you can get to that point, you know what I mean, with your partner, and I feel like it's hard. Sometimes you got to go through some shit.
Yeah.
You know, get to the point where you're like, all right, we got to get on the same team and we got to get on a mission and just make shit happen. And I feel like it's really hard to find someone to have that mindset right away. But when you go through some things and you get to that point and you're able to make it past that, like there ain't really nothing that can fuck you up after that.
Yeah.
True.
You know what I mean? Because you've been through all the hard things already, you know? So how much worse can it get than it already was?
Yeah. I mean, you can disagree about something, we get over it, you know, because even like you said, like we bring, you know, stuff, you know, from work home. I mean, yes, we do. Because I would say we're always working. We're always, you know, thinking about work, you know, our business is, you know, a big priority. But I mean, but sometimes you forget things after as well. We might be fighting, not fighting, but we might disagree. We might disagree about something in the salon, but we still got to go back home to our kids. You know, we still got to go to soccer practice. We still got to do this and this and that. And then that might fade away.
Yeah. I feel you. There's been plenty of times where we disagreed on stuff and just had to walk back in the room and be like, so what's for dinner?
Exactly. So that could be a plus too. Yeah.
You know? Yeah, it's one of those things that's it's hard. It's always going to be hard. But I love to see, like, you know, the fact that you guys are just a team, like that, you know. I was more like, I feel like you've been doing a huge push on the social media presence. So I reached out to you initially, to, you know, to talk to you just because I see how entrepreneur minded you are, right? But when you talked about like, I have to bring Prisilla on because, you know, she's part of the business too. I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Like, I really want to, you know, see how that dynamic works because I don't know many people who do like the couple thing when it comes to business. Like it's, you know, because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And I know it's tough for her. You know, I'm out there on social media a lot, you know, trying to push a lot. So sometimes it leaves her a little bit in the dark. But I told her, you know, I didn't tell her at first that, you know, you only asked for me at first. I'm like, hey, we're going to go do this interview. You know, they kind of talked to her about it. But again, you know, I tell her to not forget that she's not on social media a lot.
Yeah.
But even something like this, it would be something definitely that I wouldn't do without her.
Right. But you guys are though, you know what I mean? Even if it's not your personal brand, like we, you know, we're saying with me, like like I don't care to identify as a personal brand online as long as my business is doing good, you know what I mean? And I feel like you feel the same way about that.
100%. But like even before Paws at Me was open, my biggest goal was like, I don't want people to be like, I'm here to see Prisilla, because it's not the Prisilla show. It's we're building a brand. We're going to have employees, and these employees are who, you know, are for Paws at Me.
Yeah.
So even like, which is funny because like when our salon is run very much different than other salons. When people come in, they're not allowed to request. You're right here for the brand, Paws at Me. And we're going to put you with whoever your schedule was set to be on.
I think that's an amazing point, because I think that's the difference between like building your brand and building a brand. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's important for a brand, for the like owners to be like, brand comes first.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's super important. That was kind of our thing. Like, you know, and people tell us all the time, like, oh, is it you online? Like, is it you? And I'm like, no. Or they think it's Pina, or they think it's Nina, but they don't ever necessarily think that it's a general company, but that's the way we wanted to do it. You know what I mean? Like, we wanted them to think of us as a person, but I think you guys also are doing a really good job at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Even for him, like, I was very supportive of him. Like, for a while, he was like, I don't know, should I go on Instagram? I was like, do it. Like, I know you're worried about how I'm going to, because here's the thing, he's fine. And a lot of these groomers go on there and I'm like, and they're all girls. They're all girls.
It's a woman-run industry, bro.
And
it's good for business.
Yeah. And I was like, you know, I want you to know I'm not worried about that at all. That's not a worry that I have at all. I want you to go on there because he does have a lot of knowledge that I feel like he could share. I'm not really good with like speaking and things like that. That's a whole other video. But I mean, for him, I was like, you need to go and you need to share the knowledge that you have to all these other people. Like, there's a lot of groomers who I feel like need to hear it.
Not for nothing, but you're great at speaking.
She's doing really good right now, all right?
Yeah, I think you're good. And like I said, I watched your podcast and stuff. I thought it was dope too. So
thank you.
keep it going. You got something going.
This is where I push her to be consistent. Like, cool, do however you want to do it. Just be consistent.
It's the hardest part though. Just being consistent is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I could be more consistent, but my camera guy's very busy. So I'm not able to do it as much as I would like. But if I could, I would. I'd be doing it every day.
Have you guys thought about like just bringing him or just a person in general just to come on board and just do content creation for you guys?
I mean, he's with us, a lot.
A lot, yeah.
He does have, other commitments and stuff that he likes. And I feel like even for his own creativity, he needs to have the other stuff. Other things.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Because, we don't want him to get bored with us. And then he's like, I'm kind of tired of this. He'll come with us a couple of days. We try to get him as much as possible. But let's say if we get busy, with the actual business, because sometimes we do get busy. All right, there's things that need to be taken care of. Like we don't have time for social media right now. We wouldn't want to lag on him. Right. But as a creativity sense, like he needs to have his extra creativity with other stuff. And then he might be able to bring, different, concepts to us.
Yeah.
While he's doing other stuff.
My main thing when I first started was everything has to look a specific way.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, gotta be on point. Everything. And what I noticed was, especially like around TikTok taking off, the organic shit does way better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, why am I fucking carrying around this fucking 30-pound camera to get content that's going to get 300, 400 views on YouTube when I could shoot something on my phone that's going to get 1 million and it'd be something stupid like a dog's balls or something.
Well, even that's where I think you always have to kind of be like looking out to see, what's new, what's trending. I feel like I did catch that as well. Because if you go through our Instagram, you go back, a while back, we were mainly only doing, which we were proud of, we still need to do more commercial type videos. So we were doing more commercial. Again, we were mainly marketing for customers. Right. None of our content was really for groomers, but mainly for customers. So we did, if you go back through our videos, even our first one, it's more of a commercial. It's more of a commercial. We're doing a lot of commercials, so then I could run ads. And then, our customers were seeing all these nice ads for this nice new modern grooming salon. But when I started seeing, we had a good following with, our regular customer base, and then we're getting more attention with groomers. But when I saw that shift as, what's doing better as more organic stuff, then now I tell my camera guy, just come in and shoot. Just come in and shoot, record that video. We get what we get. Let's see what we can clip out of it. Yeah. Same thing as a personal brand, same thing. It has to be more organic.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, like, in terms of just whenever they're like, oh, we want you to come shoot. We want you to come do this. We want you to come do that. And it's just like, why? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to come and I'm happy to come because I'm going to come and get paid. But you can have better ROI if you just train your front desk person to whenever they're not on the phone to come and get content. Yeah. Because it's all that little shit in between, you know what I mean? Like you said, like if there's somebody just filming, that's when you catch all the funny stuff. That's when you get like the dog dancing on the table. And it's really hard to just show up one day, for example, because that's what I used to do, like as a creative. When I got into things, I was kind of doing what your guy was doing, where I was going to a dog grooming shop and I was getting content with my camera, but I was only able to come 2 or 3 days a week. Yeah. And I was there all day. But it's very easy for things to become repetitive. But once I started doing Groom House and now we're at the shop 4 or 5 days a week and we're doing stuff here, now we're catching like the funny stuff. Now we're catching like, the weird videos and little things that people really love and that go, that perform well. Yeah. And that's been like a big help in us growing, was dumbing things down. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think even one of like the first videos that went viral, like on our viral was one of our bathers videos that says, hey, do you want to see what a pit bull golden retriever looks like? And he just moved the camera to the side and it got like 10 million views.
Yeah. What's our biggest performing video? It's some weird shit, isn't it? Yeah. On Facebook, our best performing video is a schnauzer getting his nuts powdered.
Oh, shoot.
Right? On TikTok, I think it's a creative grooming one. And that one was kind of like fueled by hate comments and things. Like just people being like, this is horrible, poor dogs. Oh, it's the Wheaton. Oh, so you can't see. That's our biggest performing video. Yeah, the Wheaton can't see.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just never know, and you never know like why things will go viral, because again, so it could be positive, like, you know, just a dog no one's ever seen before, it makes no one ever seen before.
Yeah.
Or it can be something like super negative just because people don't understand, like, you know, what goes into creative grooming, for example, which is very misunderstood.
And I would also say for like, you know, for anybody like listening, like I wouldn't even worry about it going viral too much, because no matter what, even if you get 1 million views, you might get 1 million random views, you know, but if you get 100, 200 good views from people who might actually use you, that's still worth more than the viral.
Yeah, the engagement is definitely where it's at. That's how we gauge, you know, our thing is all right, like it got 11,000 views, but not one person commented on it. So to me, that's not a good post.
Even with our like 10 million view post, it did great. We got a lot of comments, a lot of likes, but I know we didn't really necessarily get a lot of followers from it.
Yeah. I feel like it was something, especially when Instagram was kind of switching things over and moving to like the Reels thing, and they were pushing like Reels bonuses and stuff. That was like one of those situations where like the videos were doing really good, but it didn't turn out as into followers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. You know, and especially like it's like waves, like you go like weeks where you're doing really, really, really good, and then you plateau for like 6 months. Yeah. It's hard. Mentally and time-wise, it's just a lot of work, you know?
Yeah.
And then you look at all like the gurus and they're like, oh, you got to post 7 times a day. And it's like, how?
I mean, I follow all those guys, you know, and that's where I get, you know, a lot of my ideas, you know, all right, cool. They say do this, let me try it out.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, but again, you never know what's going to really take off.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing really good. I think that, you know, consistency wise in terms of just like the entrepreneur bag that you're in. Like, I really think it's a good perspective to have. And I think that people need to hear stuff like that, because like I said, like a lot of people that are going into like business in the dog grooming industry, they're by themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're in mobiles, or even if, you know, like we know a couple of places where it's just like a small place and it's just them and like a family member, you know what I mean? So it's really like hard, I think, to like, you know, and a lot of people are introverted, like you and I'm introverted too. So they're not going to sit there and reach out to people and be like, hey, you know, can you give me some advice on this? This is an issue. So I feel like the fact that you're putting out some of the content that you put out is very helpful for people. So keep that up, man.
Even then, like I get frustrated because I see on social media, like there's people who are like, you know, if you want any advice or anything, you got to pay me for it. And it's like, you understand that like these people, they've already invested in their businesses and stuff like that, especially with grooming. It's hard when it's just a 1-person salon or you have like 3 other people. It's still really hard. So for him, I always tell him like, you throw that stuff out there and you let them know, because for me, I don't think it's fair for groomers who feel like they've done an amazing job, and yet they're only a 1-person grooming business salon, and they're like, pay me to give you information on how to start a business. And it's like, you're a business of one.
Right.
For him, I always tell him, I'm like, give it to them for free. Like, they need to know. Like, I want to make sure that we're helping the grooming community as well. Like, for me, it's like, it's unfair for us to ask for money back unless they really want to do a one-on-one course where we're, you know.
Yeah, one-on-one is different.
We're going to go into their salon.
But I agree. I think, you know, a lot of that information, not only is it already out there.
Yeah.
Right? Like the majority of the information is just recycled and it's already out there, and you just have to, I mean, honestly, like look up barbershop businesses if you really want YouTube tutorials and things. Like there's tons of it out there. You know what I mean? And that was like my thing too. When we first started, you know, I wanted to eventually get to a point where the majority of the content that we're doing is free. But unfortunately, just as, you know, it isn't a scalable model that we can do at the moment. But eventually, like once the money starts coming in from, you know, social media, like YouTube and things like that's really like my big thing is if I'm able to build the YouTube to where it's monetized, then we can start doing things a little bit different.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's definitely like a balance between like what you give out for free, what you want to charge for, you know, obviously to help you individually grow. But I feel like even as you start, you know, building the brand, building yourself, eventually people just want to support you and they'll pay for your course. They'll pay for you because they just want to support you.
Well, I mean, so there's still a huge population of people who prefer to take that route, but there's still also people who rather do it themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, like, I'm one of those people, like, I much rather just research and do as much, like, research as I can, and not just in the industry that I'm, like, looking to pursue, but in other industries. Like, how did other industries do this? You know what I mean? Even if it's just, like, similar.
I mean, I definitely even like your guys' model. And even then for me, I mean, obviously, the internet's, where it's at, but that's where I'm like, all right, what kind of model can I use? Same thing like an affiliate program, same thing, some type of subscription, it's definitely a good model.
Yeah,
you guys are going route,
I think, there's a lot of room still. I mean, I still feel like we're super niche.
Yeah.
Even though we're already in a niche industry, I still feel like in terms of the education we deliver and how we deliver it, we're still very niche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like there's still a lot of room on that side, like on the online education side of things, for people like to, I mean, look at the streaming services in general, like how many streaming services there are. There's Netflix, there's Hulu, there's HBO Max, there's Disney Plus, there's, you know what I mean? So I feel like, there's always going to be room for that. And there's different ways that you can go about doing it. And there's different avenues that you can take to be successful in it if you wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? Especially like my thing right now is the affiliate marketing. Like that's where it's at. You know what I mean? So especially, like I feel like kind of the overall like trajectory of a social media account, like initially you start, you grow, and you're growing from customers and people who just think your content's cool and cute dogs. And then once you get to a certain point, then you start getting all the, groomers. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And once you get the groomers and you start getting more into like then you start going into like the professionals, right? Mm-hmm. Like not just the people who are groomers and work for people, but now the professionals. And I feel like once you get to that point, now you're in a position where you're like, all right, I'm going to post this dog and people are going to be like, what scissors are you using?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What clippers are you using? Yeah. What comb is that? You know what I mean? And just in that, there's a lot of opportunity that I feel isn't explored at all in the industry.
I mean, I don't know if it's not, I think people are trying to explore it now. It's just, the company is giving in is the next part.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, there's ways to go about it. I think there's ways to change it, but I think that definitely now at this point, people are starting to realize it, like especially the content creators, because it's like, I could do that myself.
Yeah.
That's and that's been a lot of what pushed our business forward was that mindset was like, all right, nobody's doing it. We could do it.
Yeah.
Right. What has been your biggest learning experience since starting your grooming business?
There's a quote that says, or not a quote, but someone said, it was like, you can't count on motivation. You got to be disciplined. And I feel like with our business, it's just that, like, I've learned that you just have to be disciplined and you have to not give up.
I like that, like, especially the patience, because as long as you have a clear vision and you know what your goal is, you just have to, like you said, just be disciplined and be patient.
Yeah.
And you'll get there.
Yeah.
So I love it. How about you?
I feel like one of the biggest things that I would say that would be or lessons that I've learned. I mean, I would say don't worry about everything being perfect. Not everything has to be perfect. You just have to either get started or keep going. When things are falling apart, when things go wrong, when you get that bad, Yelp review, you just have to keep going. It's not going to always be perfect. And you're not going to be able to please everybody. Especially you get to a point where, you're doing a lot of things and you're reaching a lot of people. Not everybody's going to be happy. And you're going to have to learn.
Amazing.
Learn to handle that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was amazing talking to you guys. And I appreciate you guys coming all the way out to Florida from California just to do this. And just want to let you guys know I'm super proud of what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
And I love to see you guys continuing to push not just your brand forward, but just the content in general. So yeah, keep it up. Again, appreciate you guys. And we'll see you guys on the next Shear Passion.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for having us.